Taking advantage of the fact that my husband was not around, my mother-in-law and her sisters did as they pleased. I confronted my mother-in-law, who was under the impression that she could behave as if our new house was her own without knowing anything about it. My name is Grace and I am 32 years old. At the time, I was 28 years old and had been married for 2 years to my husband Joshua. We lived with our son as a family of 3. My husband moved into the place that was originally my house, and we lived there. We continued to live in an apartment as a family of 3. We talked about buying a newly built house, but my husband was hardly ever home and we couldn't have a proper conversation. My husband had a job that required him to travel frequently even when we were dating. So even as newlyweds, we didn't spend much time together, and even now, our lifestyle hasn't changed much from when we were single. I work remotely from home and take care of our child. But it's very easy not to worry about my husband's meals, and having time to myself is also a happy life. I'd like to go on a trip with the 3 of us when my husband's work settles down, but even if I say so, I'm busy with my child, so I think this lifestyle is not bad for 1 to 2 years. Just as I was thinking about such a carefree thing, someone visited my house. The intercom rang, and I heard a knock on the door and a voice calling me. That voice belonged to my mother-in-law. She came into the house without hesitation. Moreover, she brought 5 of her sisters with her. They were people who were my husband's aunts.
Grace, are you still dressed like that in your pajamas? It's already noon.
I don't have any plans to go anywhere today because I'm busy with work, and it was a sudden visit. I was wearing a long-sleeved sweatshirt and black pants. It was just a casual outfit that I could wear to a convenience store or when a delivery person came. When I answered that way, my mother-in-law gave me a cold look and continued talking.
It's embarrassing that my daughter-in-law is dressed like that. That's why Joshua doesn't come home. Dress more like a woman.
Joshua is at work. Besides, it doesn't matter if it's not feminine these days. My mother-in-law and my husband Joshua don't communicate much. The reason is, my mother-in-law is very intrusive. Joshua, who hates trouble, seems to ignore the persistent emails and phone calls from his mother, and I get the backlash.
Joshua will be back in about 2 months, you know?
Right, I'll be careful. Why do I have to worry about my appearance when I'm at home? That's what I thought, but I didn't want to bother arguing with my mother-in-law, so I just nodded along.
Oh, and you guys are thinking of building a new house, right? I know the president of a construction company. I'll introduce him to you, so call him here. He'll give you a good deal.
Thank you very much. The note I received from my mother-in-law had the phone number of the construction company. When I contacted my husband, he said he would leave everything to me. The house we were going to live in was already in the finishing stage, and thanks to the construction company, we were able to choose the design of the exterior and interior. I consulted with my husband a little bit, but I proceeded almost 90% as I liked. I was excited about the new house of my dreams, but my husband didn't seem to be that enthusiastic. Even when I sent him photos of the progress of the construction, he only said one word.
Got it.
That was it. But I was still happy until the house was finished, because I could have the new house I longed for. I was looking forward to the completion of the house, but one day, as I was reading the mail that arrived at my house, the intercom rang. It must be my mother-in-law and her sisters, I thought, and hesitated to go to the front door. Then I heard the sound of the door opening, some footsteps, and conversations, and I was surprised. I had left the key open. I was careless. My mother-in-law and her sisters come to visit every week without notice.
Hey, why do you not come out?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in the bathroom and didn't notice. I wondered why I had to apologize as I said that. The 5 sisters of my mother-in-law said,
"The house is almost finished, isn't it? Let's celebrate."
That sounds nice. I want to eat chicken dishes.
I'm in the mood for beef stew. Make it for me.
And they did whatever they wanted. Why do I have to cook for the couple's new house celebration when I'm the one involved? If I told them clearly that I didn't like it, my mother-in-law and her sisters would just yell at me that it was my duty as a wife. Even if I consulted with my husband about my mother-in-law and her sisters doing whatever they wanted.
They're family, so just deal with them.
He didn't seem to want to help me at all. My mother-in-law and her sisters opened my refrigerator without permission and rummaged through it. At that time, I heard a loud noise and went to the kitchen, and it seemed that they had broken the mug I cherished.
Oh no! What a mess!
It's okay, don't worry about it.
What? Don't you care? There's a stain on my bag.
It's dangerous to leave such fragile cups around. You should clean up quickly.
I was furious that they had used and broken my precious things without permission, but I had no choice but to deal with the broken mug. The sisters, and of course, my mother-in-law, didn't pay any attention to me, and started eating the snacks in the refrigerator and watching TV. A week after the sisters' selfish celebration party, the long-awaited house was completed. Even without me telling them, the sisters who knew the location of the house, as expected, came to visit the house a week after it was completed.
Oh, what a bland house. It's been a week and it's not tidy at all, and what do you mean there's only a refrigerator?
I'm broke because of the expenses, so I'll get everything ready by next week.
What are you talking about? You can't live comfortably like this.
That's right. Nobody would want to live in such a plain house. Let's go buy some furniture and appliances right now.
Oh, no, it's okay. I can use the old ones until next week. I refused, but I was dragged by the pushy sisters, and they bought me everything from sofas, TVs, TV stands, to microwave ovens and rice cookers, all new. I don't need you to go through all this trouble for me.
It's only natural.
That's right. Since we bought so much stuff, it must be hard to tidy up, right? We'll stay over for a while and help you.
Huh? It's okay.
It's fine, it's fine. Don't be shy.
I wasn't shy at all, but the sisters started to insist on staying over. Well, as expected, they had no intention of helping with the tidying up, and they just lazed around, complaining about their own families.
Grace, make some tea.
Oh, I want coffee.
I want something sweet.
I felt like I had reached my limit with the sisters who treated me like a servant. As I was preparing the drinks, the living room became quiet. I took the drinks and went to the living room, and there was no one there. I thought it was strange, and when I looked for them, they had entered my room without permission and were rummaging through my things.
Oh no! These clothes with exposed arms are no good.
My mother-in-law was tearing up my favorite camisoles and tops. By the time I got there, she had already torn up several clothes and put them in a plastic bag. I screamed at the sight. Hey! What are you doing? That's my clothes! As I was arguing with my mother-in-law,
Oh, this is nice. Give it to me too.
No way! I'll take it.
sisters were pulling on my necklace. Hey! It'll break!
Oh!
As soon as they said that, the necklace snapped.
Oh no, it's because you pulled it.
What have you done?
You don't need to get so angry, do you? You can just buy another one.
The necklace that the two sisters broke was a high-end brand. I was speechless and couldn't say anything.
What are you making a fuss about?
One of the sisters who hadn't been in my room until now came to the room, but what she had in her hand was a hobby book that I cherished. Excuse me, why do you have my book? I'd appreciate it if you could put it back where it was.
I was bored and wondered if there was anything interesting.
As she said that, she started flipping through the book, licking her finger and turning the pages. Excuse me.
What?
It was dirty, of course, but I was worried about something else.
Oh, it tore.
She turned the pages too hard, and several pages of my precious book tore. As I was shocked and depressed.
Why are you making such a gloomy face? It's not like we did anything wrong.
That's right.
The sisters laughed. I thought they were the ones who were wrong, but as I kept my mouth shut.
Oh, by the way, there's no bedding for us to stay over, is there?
That's true.
They changed the subject and left the room without feeling sorry. I was angry with the sisters who destroyed my house in no time. And they only targeted my things, and I wondered if they were doing it on purpose.
Hey, let's have steak for dinner tonight.
That sounds good.
We're tired, so please get us premium steak and luxury feather bedding for each of us.
You should have a regular steak. It's strange to say that you're the same as us, when your positions are different, right?
Is that so? By the way, the money is...
We're guests, you know? Do you intend to make us pay?
Well, you are guests, but I didn't invite you.
You're terrible. We're family, aren't we? We should support each other. We came to celebrate your new house, so you should at least act like a good host. That's normal, isn't it?
Family?
Oh, you want to say we're not family because we're not blood related?
Didn't you hear this from Joshua? I told him to tell you.
What? What are you talking about? It's only natural for a wife to serve her husband's family.
No, I'm single, you know?
What?
I divorced Joshua a week ago. You didn't know, did you? I thought you came here to harass me.
What do you mean?
Divorce? What's that?
A week ago, I received a letter. It was about my husband's affair. This is a copy of the evidence. What I showed the sisters was a photo of my husband with another woman. The sender is the husband of the woman he cheated with. Joshua is not only away for work, but he's also traveling with her.
No, no. That's a lie. My Joshua would never do such a dirty thing.
It's true. I actually exchanged emails with him, and he admitted to the affair. I also received alimony. He said he'll pay child support every month, so it's settled. Well, I don't need it anyway. Besides, the reason he married me was for money, right? My parents run a company. My husband said,
Mom told me to marry you for money, so I approached you. But a loveless marriage is meaningless. I'll pay you the alimony.
He didn't apologize, and I was shocked when I learned the truth, but I was able to accept his words easily. I even felt a little sorry for him, who was forced to marry me by his mother. But that doesn't mean what he did was forgivable, and he's paying me and the other husband alimony. The other husband is pitiful, but from what I heard, he wasn't a very good husband either, as his wife often had bruises on her face. Well, that's none of my business, so I won't interfere. My mother-in-law was stunned with her mouth open when she heard my story.
What? Then what are you going to do with this house?
There must be a loan left, and the value will go down if you live in it once, right?
You've only lived here for a week, so why don't you rent it out? You'll get a monthly income, won't you?
Good idea! Grace seems to have received alimony, so you won't say you want this house, will you?
You're terrible for divorcing without telling my sister. You should refuse the property division.
That's true. What do you think? We can manage this house for you, right?
And they carried on the conversation on their own. Excuse me? Refuse what? This house is under my name, you know?
What?
I did everything by myself, you know? What? The name is basically your husband's, right? What do you mean by basic? I earn more than him, and he was living in my house all this time.
Then, change the name. I won't let you make it yours alone. We'll pay the rent and the loan together, so change it.
There's nothing to forgive. The debt of this house is 0. Because my parents paid it all as a gift. It's completely mine. Joshua also agreed to it from the beginning, so he consented.
No, no. I don't accept that. It's something you bought when you were married.
Since we decided it with a lawyer, if you want to fight, let's meet at mediation with Joshua. Well, I think convincing Joshua is the first thing to do. When I said it clearly, the mother-in-law and her sisters were flustered.
Then I'll take back the appliances and stuff.
Go ahead.
You can eat a cold meal for a while. You're broke.
That's right. I'll have all the furniture and appliances delivered next week, so I'll eat out for a while. The reason I was broke was because I had already bought the appliances and furniture.
You said you had no money.
I was broke because I bought furniture and stuff. I refused to use the old ones until next week, didn't I?
What a cunning! You were planning to make it yours.
Humph. We'll take them back.
The sisters tried to take the appliances, but they stopped in their tracks.
Hey, how are we going to take them back?
We have no choice but to call a taxi, right?
It's difficult to carry everything at once.
You, lend me your car. We can't carry them without a big car. And while you're at it, take them all to my house.
I went shopping with my car, and I took the luggage home once, and then went to pick up the sisters who were waiting while drinking coffee. So, it was impossible for the sisters to take them back without my cooperation. I don't want to. Why don't you call 5 taxis and take them back yourself? Well, I don't think you can load things like TV stands into a taxi. As I refused, the sisters kept complaining. Why don't you ask the men for help? Not that I want to keep them in my house, since they're not mine.
What do we do?
We don't have a big car, you know.
That's right. Our sons are too far away to ask for cooperation.
There's nothing we can do but give up.
How about asking someone else?
The sisters were trying to call a contractor.
What? $600 just to transport them? Don't be ridiculous. Does it cost that much?
The sisters argued with the contractor on the phone, and were eventually turned down. It's rare to be rejected by the contractor. The sisters were dejected and silent. Excuse me, can you leave soon?
We'll leave without you telling us.
Oh, and please pay for my mug, clothes, necklace, and so on.
Enough! How greedy! This should be enough.
That necklace costs $2,000, you know? The sisters grumbled and pooled their money, and begged me to let them off with $2,000 for the necklace, since they had no more money. At the very end,
I'll give it to you. Do whatever you want with the appliances and stuff. You're also to blame for keeping quiet.
she spat out and left, but I accepted it with a smile. The reason, of course, was that I could make a lot of money by selling everything. The mother-in-law and sisters didn't seem to have the idea of selling, and probably disposed of the unnecessary things. Well, even if they wanted to sell, they had to take them back, and maybe they really just gave up. After that, I tidied up the furniture and appliances, and sold the ones I didn't need. Thanks to that, I got some pocket money without doing anything, and I was lucky. Now, 4 years later, I receive child support from my ex-husband every month. I also got promoted at work, and my salary became a decent amount. So, I told my ex-husband that he didn't have to pay child support, but he said he wanted to keep paying because he loved his child. I haven't had any trouble with my ex-mother-in-law since that day, and I live a peaceful life. We go back to my parents' house on weekends and relax. Watching my 4-year-old son grow up is my happiness now.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.
Both the TV, refrigerator, microwave, washing machine, sofa, and table, everything is my personal property.
The bed we bought after getting married is shared property, right?
You said, you've been saving because you're a civil servant, right, and asked me to buy it. But I purchased it with my savings from when I was single. So it's my personal item. The only things you bought with your own money are the game console and Blu-ray recorder. Well, they're nice to have, but we wouldn't be in trouble without them. As I assert this, Peyton falls silent, wearing a face that seems to say, "Grr." I am Beatrice, a 26-year-old occupational therapist working at a university hospital in the city. I live with my 2-year-older husband and his mother. We splurged on a newly built house last year, and we plan to pay off the 24-year mortgage together. My husband's name is Peyton. He works for a fairly large company. We met when I had just entered society, during my early days at the university hospital. It was at a forced group blind date that we crossed paths. I only went along to fill the members, with no particular interest in men. I didn't want to associate with people who treated group blind dates as a place to hunt for women. However, Peyton was also reluctantly dragged into it. And that's how we hit it off. Although it's a bit embarrassing to say we met at a group blind date, we've agreed to tell people it was through a friend's introduction. We dated for almost a year and eventually got married. Shortly after our marriage, my father-in-law passed away, and that's when I started living with my mother-in-law. And then, while we were still young, we decided to splurge and build a house last year. 2 years into our marriage, I thought we were leading a smooth life, but since both of us work, we divided household chores. My live-in mother-in-law hardly does any housework. Despite being just 54 years old, she enjoys a leisurely retired life. Thanks to the inheritance from my late father-in-law, she often goes out with friends. As for household tasks, I handle laundry and cooking, while Peyton takes care of cleaning and other chores. One day, as I was about to wash Peyton's shirt, I caught a faint whiff of women's perfume. And to my surprise, there was even pink lipstick on it. The first 2 times, I pretended not to notice. However, one holiday morning, it happened for the 3rd time. The same perfume scent, the same pink lipstick. Isn't it rare for someone not to suspect infidelity in such a situation? Hey, Peyton. What's this?
Ha! What are you talking about?
I showed him the pink lipstick stain on his fragrant shirt. Just to clarify, are you cheating? But it wasn't Peyton who answered. It was my mother-in-law.
Don't say ridiculous things. You're the one who doesn't trust Peyton, aren't you?
However, irrefutable evidence had emerged. Despite my mother-in-law's anger, I ignored her and asked Peyton. And then,
I have feelings for another woman. Not you, someone else.
He confessed to the affair so casually. Can such a careless affair really exist? He's been seeing a 22-year-old woman from his workplace for about 4 months. My mother-in-law seems to find it delightful, but I feel utterly foolish. Even though we just built this house, isn't this a bit much? I voiced my objection honestly, reflecting on my own actions. Perhaps our short courtship of less than a year was the downfall. I thought I was marrying a decent person and building a home together, but I failed to see through his character.
If you want, we can break up.
What? Why so high-handed? I was genuinely annoyed.
Beatrice, Peyton looks elsewhere because his wife falls short.
Excuse me? It's too much to defend him just because he's your son.
As a wife, you should be a little more patient.
Why are both my mother and my husband acting out and acting so superior? Marriage is about equality. It's absurd to expect only the wife to endure. Peyton, if you want to marry that woman, then we have no choice but to part ways.
Fair enough. Beatrice, why don't you leave? I'll be living with her. Lorraine.
Peyton said it without a hint of remorse, leaving me utterly exasperated. Can I ask you something? Why did Lorraine become the better choice? When I asked, Peyton responded with a smug expression.
Unlike you, she doesn't nag me. You, as my wife, keep telling me to clean or take out the trash.
We had already decided to divide household chores since we were both working. If you dislike doing housework so much, why didn't you say something? Besides, his energetic mother is also around. He could have asked her for help. But to run away to another woman over such trivial matters. What's wrong with this man? It seems I made a grand mistake in a crucial life decision because of him.
Exactly. It's absurd to make the husband do housework.
Could you please stay quiet for a moment? We both work, and our incomes are nearly the same. We have to share household tasks. What if I were to give birth? How would we manage without shared responsibilities?
Your attitude is why he's finding a mistress outside.
She said it with the same smug expression. This mother-in-law seems to always side with her son. Despite the situation where divorce due to Peyton's fault is inevitable, she remains assertive.
Peyton, go ahead and remarry that woman. Beatrice is no good.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 or 3 days. Beatrice, please leave.
Once again, he's acting superior. It irritated me, but I responded with a smile. Sure, understood. Make sure to get the divorce papers, won't you? Honestly, what am I going to do? I immediately started preparing to leave the house. Since it was Saturday, I wanted to escape by tomorrow. I'd like to go to work on Monday as if nothing happened. Or rather, I'm annoyed that I have to use my vacation days because of Peyton and his mother. I decided to discard the clothes and accessories Peyton had gifted me. I gathered only what was necessary for work and daily life. Surprisingly, I didn't need much for myself. The moving truck, which I had called in a hurry, arrived in the early afternoon, and the movers began their work promptly. Following my instructions, they carried my belongings. Peyton and my mother-in-law seemed to be out. They were probably having a meal or at the courthouse. By the time most of the items were loaded, the two of them returned, looking satisfied after their meal.
Oh, Beatrice, you're still here? Sorry, but could you leave soon?
Oh, don't worry. I'll disappear today. At that moment, one of the movers informed me that the loading was complete. I'll be leaving now. Take care. I got into my parked car on the premises and started the engine. From outside, I heard someone shouting strangely, "What on earth?" Then Peyton appeared, blocking my way. It was Peyton who had shouted earlier. "Hey, get out of the way! You'll get run over!"
Wait. What do you mean, Beatrice?
What? Did something bother you?
Don't mess with me. Give me back my furniture and appliances.
Furniture and appliances? You mean the ones that were loaded on the truck?
Of course! Give them back. They're mine.
No way! Are you trying to get compensation? Don't steal, please!
They need to face reality. What do you want me to give back?
Don't play dumb. There's nothing left in the house except the game console and the Blu-ray recorder. How am I supposed to play without a TV?
I opened the car window and he barked at me on the driver's seat. I had no choice but to get out of the car. Was there nothing else left?
Only a carpet. There's no TV or fridge. Where am I supposed to sleep without a bed?
Buy a sleeping bag or something.
Don't joke with me. There's only mom's stuff left. That's not right.
Are you trying to extort me for exercising my legitimate rights? Peyton glared at me with a look of disbelief. I had to explain it to him clearly. What's wrong with taking my own things, my personal belongings?
That's theft. They're all marital property.
They're my personal belongings, you know? I checked my diary because my memory was fuzzy. They're all things that I bought.
Don't lie.
When we moved to this house, we couldn't afford to buy new furniture and appliances, so I've been using the ones from when I was single, right?
They're still marital property. I used them too.
Marital property means the assets that we built together after we became a married couple. We didn't have enough money as a couple, so I contributed my own funds. The TV, the fridge, the microwave, the washing machine, the sofa, the table. They're all my personal belongings.
The bed is marital property. We bought it after we got married.
I was a public servant, so you said I must have saved a lot, right? And you asked me to buy it. I bought it with my savings from when I was single, so it's mine. Well, I don't know much about the law, and I don't know the details. Maybe the bed is marital property, but the rest are definitely my personal belongings. Including the things you begged me to buy when we were dating. The only things we bought with our money as a couple are the carpet. The only things you bought with your own money are the game console and the Blu-ray. Well, they're nice to have, but I don't need them. He fell silent with a look of frustration.
You're a devil. A devil who's stealing the property from your husband.
I'm leaving him, so I won't be his wife anymore. Besides, the one who's trying to take the property from someone else is Peyton, right? And he's the one who committed adultery, the act of infidelity. He must have spent money on Lorraine too. I'll be suing for damages, so look forward to it. Hearing that, Peyton, who had been silent until then, screamed in a strange voice.
Why? Isn't this supposed to be an amicable divorce?
Where's the amicability in this? I think it's strange to expect not to be sued. I sensed Peyton's delusional brain and felt empty. Why did I marry him?
Then no property division. I'll fight the damages. Who needs such old-fashioned appliances anyway? This house is in my name. It's mine.
Oh, I let you have the name only for yourself. Well, good luck with the mortgage payments.
Get out of my house.
I don't want to be with you anyway. Goodbye.
Wait. Is the car yours too?
It's the car I've been driving since I was single. What about it? Do I have to explain it to you again like before? I was finally freed from the pointless exchange. I didn't care about the house. I let Peyton do as he pleased. I'll probably have to fight over the damages from now on. I stayed at a business hotel for about a week. During that time, I searched for a place to move and completed the procedures. The moving truck kept my belongings for a while. My parents' home was about 3 hours away by car, and it was hard to go back. It would take me 3 hours to get to work if I went back to my parents' home. I had gotten a job at a university hospital near where I went to college. I had been living in this town for about 8 years since graduating from high school. Marriage and divorce. I never thought I would experience either. I settled down after starting to live alone again, and then I got a call from Peyton.
Hey! Why are you suing Lorraine too for damages?
Hello? You can't commit adultery by yourself, right? By the way, are you living with Lorraine? There was no reply right away. After a pause, Peyton squeezed out his voice.
Of course I am.
Okay, good for you, Mr. Show-Off.
What is this you're doing? Give me back Lorraine.
Oh, did she run away from you?
What did you do to her? This is your doing, isn't it?
I didn't think the two adulterers would be able to get married so easily. She's a co-worker, right? You divorced me and married her. It's obvious that you were having an affair. You work at the same place, after all.
She quit because of you.
She quit because it was uncomfortable, right?
It's your fault.
She would have stayed at work if you hadn't cheated.
Oh, that's not true.
After she quit, she was shocked by my claim for damages and contacted Peyton again. I wonder if I should tell him one surprising development. Lorraine said you lied to her that you were single. She wants to sue you for marriage fraud.
What?
She said she wants to claim damages for being deceived. Lorraine just joined the company as a new graduate, right? We got married before she joined. How wicked of you to deceive such a girl. Actually, I met Lorraine at a cafe the other day. It was easy to contact her through Peyton's coworker. The coworker was more sympathetic to me than to Peyton. When I greeted her as the ex-wife, Lorraine was trembling. There, I told them both that I was suing them. Lorraine apologized in tears and said she didn't know he was married. It didn't matter to me whether that was true or a lie. I had already left him, and I had no more interest in Lorraine. So, I told her one thing. If you were dating him while he hid the fact that he was married, you were deceived too. I said that to her. Lorraine went back to her parents' home, right? Why don't you pay the damages for her instead?
Don't be ridiculous.
By the way, it's double damage for me and Lorraine. If you pay the amount I'm claiming from Lorraine, it's triple.
Don't laugh.
But it's someone else's problem. I can laugh. Peyton was ranting on the other end of the phone, but it didn't solve anything. I ended the call, saying I'll let my lawyer handle the details. Peyton paid me about $10,000 in damages. Lorraine also had to pay me about $5,000. But Lorraine received about $8,000 in damages from Peyton. She ended up with a plus, so maybe quitting was a learning experience. A while after the exchange of alimony was over, I got another contact from Peyton. Do you still need something?
Help me, please. I can't borrow any more money from anywhere.
Peyton was spending a lot on alimony payments. On top of that, the monthly loan was weighing heavily on him. That's right, it was different from when we were married. I paid for all the living expenses and Peyton was in charge of the loan.
If I pay for both living expenses and loan, I'll run out of money. I also had to buy new furniture and appliances. I borrowed as much as I could from consumer finance. I'm in trouble with debt.
Why don't you sell the house? You can pay off the loan. There was no way the loan would remain after selling it.
Even if I sell it, I won't have much left after paying off the loan. My money is negative now, so I can't rent an apartment. If I sell the house, I have nowhere to go.
Still, it would be better to reduce the debt than to keep carrying a large one. Peyton had lost the ability to make such important decisions. Why don't you sell the house and reduce the debt, and get some protection from the government?
Mom says she hates the shame.
It's not the time to talk about shame. Anyway, just sell the house. The debt will decrease. He should have sold the house and moved to public housing as soon as we broke up. I didn't say that. If he had done that, the loan would have been repaid before the wallet went bust. Peyton had become a debt hell by clinging to that house.
Please, Beatrice, lend me some money. I quit my job and ran away with money borrowed from my colleagues. Dad's inheritance is gone, too, Mom says. The part one inherited is gone, too, for living in loan.
It sounds pitiful if you only hear this, but I was also a lot of things, being cheated on and divorced. I have no reason to help Peyton, who I broke up with. There was no child between us. No one would blame me for cutting ties. Hey, we broke up because of infidelity, right? I was cheated on and kicked out, you know? Don't you have any relatives or people who can help you? Just go bankrupt and give up your vanity and get some help from the government. I can't do anything for you, and I have no reason to.
Beatrice, please reconcile.
The former mother-in-law seemed to have interrupted the phone call.
Let's live together again. Call me Mom. You can remarry Peyton. I'll forgive you.
That's worse than lending you money. Now that the divorce is over, Peyton only knows my cell phone number. They know my parents' house, of course, but they probably won't ask for help. Can you please stop contacting me? We're divorced, you know. We're strangers.
Oh! What an ungrateful wife!
I'm not a wife anymore, so I have no reason to talk. The former mother-in-law who ate up her husband's inheritance in a few years was pretty bad, too. I quietly hung up the phone and blocked the call. If they contact me again or contact my parents' house, it will probably be a stalker case and go to the police. It's been almost a year since the divorce. I haven't heard from Peyton and his mother. I heard a rumor from Peyton's coworker who lent him money and got scammed. Peyton and his mother abandoned everything and ran away to escape from the debt collectors. They seem to be living on the streets, changing places every day. By chance, I drove by the house where we lived during our marriage. The exterior had changed and there were strangers living there. Well, if the two of Peyton and his mother are alive, that's fine. I'm enjoying my life every day, and there's someone I'm interested in. But this time, I'll date him for a bit longer and make sure.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to the channel. See you in